I'm Kris Carr, and I was diagnosed on Valentine's Day of 2003 with a very rare sarcoma called epithelioid hemangioendothelioma. And at the time, I had some pains in my side, pains that I'd had for a number of years that I thought acid reflux, irritable bowel syndrome, all the things that I'd been labeled with and pills that I'd taken. And I went back to my GP and had some scans, and they found lesions in my liver, and at the time I didn't know what that meant, and I quickly learned that those lesions were tumors. And then a full body scan found that they had spread, the disease had spread to both of my lungs, so it was stage 4 when I found it. I was 31 years old, and I started doctor shopping. I went to about 4 different hospitals, top hospitals in the country, and spoke to many different doctors and was told very different things. Nothing that I heard made any sense. The only thing that made sense was the doctor who said, watch and wait. And so I chose a watch and live approach. It happened because somebody had given me a book, along the diagnosis process. There's weeks of waiting, and somebody had given me a book about diet and cancer, and I thought, well, this makes a lot of sense. And so I spent the first 2 years of my diet journey, which was my own self-imposed treatment, practicing macrobiotics, and that was really helpful for me. And then I came to some plateaus with that, and I started practicing more of an alkaline raw diet, and that's when I started to see really amazing results in my health. I still get scanned. Originally I got scanned every 2 months, and then over the course of years now I get scanned just once a year. It's been 5 years that I've been living this way, and the scans are completely stable. For me, I have a very slow-moving cancer, so I've been stable for a while. There have been times when they've seen a little bit of reduction. What I was eating before was the standard American diet in a big way. So a lot of power bars, a lot of foods created in laboratories, definitely meat, because I came from a pretty traditional family, and you had meat on every plate, on every meal, and not a lot of vegetables. I wasn't really into them, and if I was into them, I tried to kill them to death, and just a lot of processed food. My idea of a good night would be like Tasty Delight, and it's completely 100% artificial, a large Tasty Delight and a Diet Coke, done. And so it was a radical transformation for me to even learn how to eat. It's like create my own owner's manual, basically. And so the first thing that I did was start with what I put in my body. And what I quickly learned is it's not just what you eat, it's also what you drink, and it's what you think that determine how you live. And so, but to start with the food, I went 100% vegan overnight. And so I removed all animal products and dairy, and I removed processed sugar, starches. Anything that was made in a laboratory, I removed. If I couldn't pick it in the garden, it wasn't going to go in my body, or in sea vegetables, so in the Garden of the Sea. We drink a lot of juice and smoothies and salads, and it's really what I think to be low residue foods, like grains like millet and quinoa and buckwheat and sweet potatoes, things that aren't difficult to digest, things that don't rob a lot of energy. They give me energy, they don't bog me down. So it's been 5 years since I was diagnosed, and I feel fantastic, and I'm still following a mostly raw vegan diet with a lot of juicing and very little sugar, and I feel probably more balanced and more sustainable energy than I have in the past when I was on a meat diet and a processed food diet. When you start to really get in with the people who are saying similar things, and you're connecting the dots with people you really start to respect as you're a patient wading through this sea of information and you're kind of on your own. The China study, when I read the China study, it was the first time that I had information that I could actually prove to people, that it wasn't just something that I felt, or it wasn't something written by somebody who, though they had an enormous amount of experience, they weren't really, they weren't credible enough. And this is big stuff. But this is probably the best place to start with Dr. Campbell and the China study. not everybody has to be on board with you, but it is something you kind of have to commit to. And the more you commit to it, the greater results that you see. It's not going to cure everybody, and not everybody, everybody's going to walk away with this sort of like miracle experience. But I think that it's probably the closest thing to a miracle out there.